My grandmother looked across the Christmas table at me and my partner and asked, "So when are you planning to use the ring?" I just stared at her because I had absolutely no idea what she was talking about. She tilted her head like I was joking and said, "The ring I gave your mother 2 years ago. My mother's Art Deco sapphire with the diamond halo and the filigree band." She explained that 4 generations of women in our family had worn it, and she chose me to be the 5th because I was the only one who showed up when it mattered. I moved in with her for 3 months after her hip surgery and spent hours listening to stories about great-grandma's life while everyone else was too busy to visit. I watched my mother's face go pale. My father suddenly got very interested in his mashed potatoes, and that's when I noticed the antique ring sparkling on my sister's left hand. My grandmother saw it at the same moment I did, and her expression hardened. "Take that off and hand it to me right now." My sister laughed like it was the most ridiculous request she'd ever heard. "Grandma, this isn't your ring. I found this at an estate sale a few months ago." My grandmother leaned forward and said, "I know my own mother's ring anywhere." My mother jumped in immediately with, "Mom, lots of antique rings look similar. Art Deco was an extremely popular style back then." My grandmother shook her head and said, "I wore that ring on my hand for 30 years. I know exactly what it looks like down to every stone and scratch, and that is it." My sister's tone shifted to something more patronizing. "Grandma, I know you think you recognize it, but you're getting a little confused. It happens sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that." My father nodded sympathetically and said, "She's right, Mom. It's nothing to be embarrassed about." My grandmother looked around the table at her own family, telling her she couldn't trust her own eyes, and said, "I am not confused." My partner spoke up quietly and said, "She does seem pretty certain about this." The whole table turned to look at them like they had just committed a crime by not falling in line. My mother let out this long, exhausted sigh and said, "This is getting embarrassing for everyone." My sister threw her hands up and asked, "Why are you so obsessed with ruining my Christmas over a piece of jewelry?" Then my mother turned to my father like Grandma wasn't even in the room and said, "This is getting worse. We really need to discuss her living situation soon." My sister nodded eagerly and added, "It might be time to look into some options because this kind of confusion is only going."
Scan the QR code to download TikTok. The subsequent story endings are explosive and full of hidden surprises waiting for you. You can also get rewards by creating a new account.